Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Earth defense ship Horizon. His eyes were fixed on the massive screen in front of him. The screen showed dots of light moving through space. Each dot was an alien ship. There were hundreds of them. "Captain, we're getting a message," said Lieutenant Amy Patterson. She was sitting at the communications station. Her fingers moved quickly over the controls. "It's from the Galactic Council." Jake walked over to her station. "Put it through." The screen changed. Now it showed the face of an alien creature. The being had blue skin and 4 eyes. It spoke in a voice that sounded like metal scraping against stone. "Humans of Earth," the alien said. "I am Council Leader Zexton. You have 72 hours to remove all human presence from Sectors 7 through 15. If you refuse, we will destroy every human ship and colony beyond your solar system." Amy looked at Jake. Her face was pale. "Sir, that includes 12 of our colonies and 43 military stations." Jake kept his expression calm. "How many ships are we looking at, Lieutenant?" "Over 3,000, sir. 12 different alien species. The biggest fleet we've ever seen." The alien on the screen continued talking. "Humans are a danger to galactic peace. Your species expands too quickly. You fight too much. You do not follow the rules of civilized warfare. The Council has voted. You must be contained." Jake pressed a button. The alien's face disappeared from the screen. He turned to his crew. "Get me Admiral Grant, emergency channel." Within minutes, Admiral Lisa Grant appeared on the screen. She was on Earth, in the command center deep underground. Behind her, Jake could see dozens of officers working at computer stations. "Jake, I assume you got the message?" Admiral Grant said. "Yes, ma'am. 72 hours to abandon everything beyond Earth. The aliens think we'll just give up and run," Admiral Grant said. Her voice was hard. "They don't know humans very well." Commander Tony Richards stepped up beside Jake. He was the ship's tactical officer. "Admiral, our intelligence reports show these alien species have never fought a real war. They do ritual combat, honor duels, limited conflicts." "That's right, Commander," Admiral Grant replied. "Dr. Ben Clark has been studying them for years. Every alien species in the galaxy follows the same patterns. They fight until one side surrenders. Then they stop. They have rules, codes of honor. They don't understand total warfare." Jake nodded. "What are our orders, Admiral?" "Prepare for combat, Captain. But first we need to send them a message." The screen split. Now Jake could see both Admiral Grant and Dr. Ben Clark. The doctor looked tired. He had been working around the clock studying alien behavior. "Captain Morrison," Dr. Clark said, "these aliens have never met a species like us. On their worlds, the top predators were pack hunters or ambush predators. They evolved to fight until dominance was established. Then they stopped." "What's different?" "About humans?" Jake asked, though he already knew the answer. "Humans evolved from persistence hunters," Dr. Clark explained. "Our ancestors chased prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. We don't stop when we establish dominance. We stop when the threat is eliminated completely." Lieutenant Patterson spoke up. "Sir, the alien fleet is moving into position. They're surrounding our outer colonies." Admiral Grant's face became stern. "All ships, all stations, prepare for Protocol 7. Captain Morrison, you know what to do." Jake nodded. Protocol 7 was something every human military officer knew about. It was the plan they hoped they would never need to use. It was the plan that would show the galaxy what humans were really capable of. "Amy, open a channel to the alien fleet. All frequencies." "Channel open, sir." Jake stood straight. He looked directly into the camera. "This is Captain Jake Morrison of the Earth Defense Forces. You have been warned. Turn your ships around and leave human space immediately." He paused. Behind him, his crew worked quietly at their stations. They all knew what was coming. "Your council thinks humans are primitive. You think we fight too much. You think we don't follow your rules," Jake's voice stayed calm and level. You're right about one thing. We don't follow your rules. We have our own. Amy checked her readings. Sir, they're not responding. The alien ships are still advancing. Jake continued his message. Every predator, species on Earth learned to fear humans. Not because we were stronger, not because we were faster. They learned to fear us because we never gave up. Because when we decided something was a threat, we eliminated that threat completely. Commander Richards checked his tactical display. Captain, the lead ships will reach the colony on Kepler 442b in 6 hours. You have 6 hours to change course, Jake said into the camera. After that, you will discover why we tried to warn you. You will learn why every human child knows the most important rule of warfare. Finish the fight, he signaled to Amy. She cut the transmission. Sir, Amy said, should I send word to the colonies? Send the code word payback to all human installations, Jake ordered. Tell them to implement Protocol 7 immediately. Commander Richards pulled up star charts on his screen. Captain, if they attack our colonies, the colonists won't have a chance. The aliens have massive firepower advantages. Jake smiled, but it wasn't a happy smile. Tony, you're thinking like them. You're thinking about firepower and ship counts. That's not how humans fight wars. Dr. Clark spoke from the communication screen. Captain, I've been monitoring alien communications. They're confident this will be a quick victory. They expect us to surrender after they destroy a few colonies. That's how wars always end in their experience. What they don't understand, Admiral Grant added, is that every human who dies will just make the survivors more dangerous. We don't surrender when we take casualties. We get angry. Jake walked to the main view screen. The alien ships looked like a wall of lights moving toward human space. There were so many of them. Amy, how long until our reinforcements arrive? 18 hours, sir, but we'll only have about 200 ships total. 200 ships against 3,000, Commander, Richards said. The odds are 15 to 1. Jake turned back to his crew. Perfect odds for humans. We've never won a fair fight in our history. We always had to be smarter, tougher, and more determined than whatever we were fighting. The bridge was quiet, except for the humming of computers and life support systems. Everyone knew their jobs. Everyone knew what was about to happen. Sir, Amy said, I'm getting reports from the colonies. They're ready. Good. Now we wait and see if the aliens are smart enough to turn around. Dr. Clark cleared his throat. Captain, based on their psychology profiles, they won't retreat. Their culture doesn't allow it. They see retreat as worse than death. Then they chose death, Jake said simply. Signal all ships. Prepare for combat operations, and send one final message to Earth. Tell them the galaxy is about to learn why. Humans give warnings. The alien fleet continued its advance toward human space. In a few hours, the first shots would be fired. The aliens thought they were starting a quick police action to contain a troublesome species. They had no idea they were about to start the shortest and most decisive war in galactic history. The alien ships reached Kepler 442b at exactly 0800 hours. The Zephyrian Empire led the attack with 20 massive warships. Their weapons were designed to disable rather than destroy. They expected the human colony to surrender after a show of force. Colony Administrator Carl Davis watched the alien ships through his office window. The mining colony had 8,000 people. Most of them were miners, engineers, and their families. But every adult human on the colony had military training. Earth made sure of that. Carl, they're broadcasting surrender demands, said Rita Lopez. She was the colony's security chief and a former Marine sergeant. Standard galactic protocols. They want us to power down our defenses and prepare for occupation. Carl smiled grimly. Send them our response. Rita pressed a button on her communicator. This is Kepler 442b colony. Message received. Response follows. Come and take it. The Zephyrian commander was confused by the reply. In galactic warfare, colonies always surrendered when faced with overwhelming force. It was logical. It saved lives. But humans, it seemed, didn't follow logic. The first alien landing ships touched down in the colony's main plaza. Zephyrian soldiers marched out in perfect formation. They carried weapons designed to stun, not kill. Their orders were to capture the colony intact. That's when they discovered what Protocol 7 really meant. The plaza exploded. Carl had ordered the mining crews to place industrial charges under every landing zone. When the alien ships touched down, the charges detonated. The explosions destroyed 6 landing craft and killed hundreds of alien soldiers. But that was just the beginning. Rita led her security teams through the colony's tunnels. Every mining operation had thousands of kilometers of tunnels. The humans knew every passage. The aliens knew nothing. Squad 2 hit the eastern landing zone. Rita spoke into her radio. Use the mining charges. Squad 4, take out their communication array. The colonists weren't soldiers, but they were humans. They used mining equipment as weapons. Industrial lasers became sniper rifles. Heavy excavators became tanks. Chemical processing plants became bomb factories. The Zephyrian soldiers had never seen anything like it. In their experience, warfare followed rules. Armies fought armies. Soldiers fought soldiers. Civilians stayed out of combat zones. But on Kepler 442b, every human was a combatant. Worker Joe Martinez drove his mining robot into a group of alien soldiers. The robot was designed to move tons of ore. It crushed the aliens like insects. When the robot was destroyed by alien weapons, Joe jumped out and kept fighting with a plasma cutter. Engineer Sally White turned the colony's power plant into a weapon. She overloaded the main reactor, then evacuated the area. When the aliens tried to capture the plant, it exploded. The blast destroyed an entire city block and took out the alien command post. In space, Captain Kelly Morgan received word about the ground fighting. Her destroyer Phoenix was outnumbered 5-1 by Krillian ships. The aliens expected her to retreat or surrender. Instead, she ordered an attack. All weapons target their flagship, Kelly commanded. Maximum power. Captain, our weapons can't penetrate their shields, said her tactical officer. Then we'll get closer. Kelly flew her ship directly at the Krillian dreadnought. The alien ship was 3 times larger than the Phoenix. Its weapons could destroy Kelly's ship with a single shot. But Kelly wasn't planning to fight a conventional. Battle! Ramming speed! She ordered. All hands, prepare for impact! The Krillian commander couldn't believe what he was seeing. No species in galactic history had ever used ramming attacks. It was suicide. It was wasteful. It was against every rule of civilized warfare. It was also devastatingly effective. The Phoenix smashed into the Krillian flagship at maximum velocity. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire. The blast damaged 3 other alien vessels and killed thousands of Krillian soldiers. Lieutenant Commander Alex Turner intercepted alien communications from his ship, the Defiant. The messages were panicked and confused. Human ship has rammed our flagship. This was not in their tactical database. Colony resistance is impossible to break. They fight like wild animals. Request new orders. Current protocols are ineffective against human forces. Alex smiled as he translated the messages. The aliens were learning that humans didn't fight the way their computer models predicted. On the ground, Carl Davis made a final broadcast to the remaining alien forces. Half the colony was destroyed, but the aliens had taken massive casualties. Their landing force was trapped in the tunnels, being hunted by miners who knew every passage. "This is Colony Administrator Davis," he said. "You wanted to see how humans fight. This is how we fight. We don't surrender. We don't retreat. We kill you or you kill us. There's no middle ground." The Zephyrian commander tried one more time to negotiate. "Administrator Davis, your colony is surrounded. Your people are outnumbered. Accept defeat with honor." Carl laughed. "Honor? You invaded our homes. You threatened our families. The only honor now is in making you pay for every meter of ground." The fighting continued for 6 more hours. When it finally ended, the colony was in ruins. But of the 8,000 humans who lived there, 6,000 had been evacuated through the tunnel systems. The aliens had lost over half their landing force. More importantly, word of the battle spread throughout the alien fleet. Species after species received reports that contradicted everything they knew about warfare. Humans fight until they die. Human. Civilians are as dangerous as their soldiers. Humans use their own infrastructure as weapons. Humans prefer death to surrender. Admiral Grant received the battle reports on Earth. She stood in the command center watching data streams from across human space. The aliens were attacking 12 colonies simultaneously. Every single colony was fighting back. "Admiral," said General Nick Thompson, "casualty reports are coming in. We're losing a lot of people." "But look at the alien casualties," Admiral Grant replied. "They expected to lose maybe a few hundred soldiers taking all our colonies. They've already lost thousands just taking one." Dr. Ben Clark studied the intercepted alien communications. "Admiral, their morale is breaking down. They've never seen combat like this. In their wars, when casualties reach 10%, the losing side surrenders." "What's our casualty rate?" Admiral Grant asked. 30% on Kepler 442b, but the survivors are still fighting." Admiral Grant nodded. That was the difference between humans and every other species in the galaxy. Other species fought until defeat became inevitable. Humans fought until victory became impossible, and sometimes they kept fighting even then. Captain Jake Morrison watched the battle reports from the bridge of the horizon. His ship was racing toward the combat zone, but they wouldn't arrive for another 12 hours. "Captain," said Amy Patterson, "I'm monitoring alien command frequencies. They're requesting additional forces. The Zephyrian Empire is calling for reinforcements." "How many ships are they sending?" 500 more warships. "Sir," Commander Tony Richards shook his head. "That will give them 4,500 ships total. We can't match those numbers." Jake smiled the same cold smile he had worn when sending his warning. "Tony, you're still thinking like them. They're adding ships because they think this is about firepower. They don't understand what they're really fighting." "What are we fighting for, sir?" Amy asked. "Survival," Jake said simply. "And when humans fight for survival, numbers don't matter. Training doesn't matter. Technology doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is who wants to win more." He looked at the tactical display showing alien ship positions. Soon his small fleet would face impossible odds against an enemy that vastly outnumbered them. Jake couldn't wait. Colonel Pete Anderson led his strike team through the asteroid field toward the Zarathi supply depot. His team consisted of 12 volunteers. They all knew they weren't coming back. "Colonel, target in sight," said Sergeant Bill Hayes through the radio. 300 enemy ships guarding the depot. Pete checked his tactical display. The depot supplied fuel and ammunition to over 1,000 alien warships. Destroying it would cripple the alien fleet for weeks, but the depot was too well defended for a conventional attack. That's why Pete's team was using an unconventional approach. "Remember the plan," Pete told his team. "We don't need to fight our way in. We just need to get close enough." Each member of Pete's team carried enough explosives to destroy a city block. But more importantly, their ships were loaded with antimatter charges. When those charges detonated, they would create an explosion visible from 3 star systems away. On Earth, Chief Engineer Diane Ross worked frantically in her laboratory. She was putting the finishing touches on Project Ragnarok. It was humanity's final insurance policy. "Diane, how much longer?" asked Admiral Grant through the communication screen. 6 hours, Admiral. Maybe less." Diane wiped sweat from her forehead. She had been working for 36 hours straight. "Once it's active, every human ship in the galaxy will be connected to the network." Admiral Grant nodded grimly. "And if Earth falls?" Then every human ship simultaneously detonates their antimatter cores. The explosion will destroy everything. Within 50 light years of each ship, it will cripple galactic civilization for centuries. Project Ragnarok was based on a simple human principle. If someone tried to wipe out humanity, humanity would take them down too. Dr. Henry Park sat across from an alien prisoner in the detention facility on Luna. The prisoner was a Zarathi commander named Vextal. He had been captured when his ship was disabled near Mars. "I don't understand your species," Vextal said. His voice sounded like wind through metal pipes. "Why do you fight so hard? You cannot win. Our numbers are too great." Henry leaned back in his chair. "Can I tell you a story about Earth?" The alien's 4 eyes focused on him. "I will listen." Long ago, humans were not the top predator on our world. We were weak, slow. Our teeth and claws were useless compared to the creatures that hunted us. Then how did you survive? We learned to hunt differently. Other predators would chase their prey until it ran away or fought back. Then the hunt would end. But humans would follow their prey for days. We would track a mammoth across hundreds of miles. We would run it to exhaustion. We never gave up. Vextal was quiet for a moment. "What is a mammoth?" "A creature 10 times larger than a human, with tusks that could crush our bones, thick hide that our weapons could barely pierce. By every logical measure, it should have been able to kill us easily. But you hunted them anyway." "We hunted them to extinction," Henry said quietly. "That's what humans do to threats. We don't just defend against them. We eliminate them completely." In space, Captain Megan Foster faced the Altarian fleet with her heavy cruiser Constitution. Her ship was badly damaged from the previous battle. Her crew was down to 60 people. The Altarians had 30 ships surrounding her. "Captain Foster," came a transmission from the alien fleet. "Your ship is disabled. Your weapons are offline. Surrender now and your crew will be treated well." Megan looked around her bridge. Her officers were wounded but still at their posts. They all looked at her with the same expression. They were ready to die, but they weren't ready to quit. "Engineering, what's our status?" Megan asked. "Engines are at 20% power. Main weapons are destroyed. But the antimatter core is still stable." Megan smiled. "Then we still have 1 weapon left." She opened a channel to the alien fleet. "This is Captain Foster. You want us to surrender? Come and take us." The Altarian commander was frustrated. "Captain Foster, be reasonable. Your ship cannot fight. Your crew will die. For nothing." "You're wrong about that," Megan replied. "My crew won't die for nothing. They'll die to take as many of you with them as possible." She turned to her helmsman. "Set course for the center of their formation. Maximum speed." "Captain," the helmsman said, "if we ram them at this speed, the antimatter explosion will destroy everything within 5,000 kilometers, including all 30 of their ships," Megan pointed out. "Sounds like a fair trade to me." The Constitution lurched forward, accelerating toward the heart of the alien fleet. The Altarians opened fire with everything they had, but it was too late. The human ship was already committed to its final attack. As the Constitution plowed into the alien formation, Megan's crew began singing an old Earth song. Their voices carried across the radio frequencies, heard by both human and alien ships across the system. The song was about a battle from humanity's past. A battle where a small group of humans held a mountain pass against impossible odds. They all died, but they saved their homeland. The Constitution struck the Altarian flagship just as the crew finished the last verse. The antimatter explosion lit up space like a new star. When the light faded, the entire alien fleet was gone. On his command ship, the Altarian Supreme Admiral received the news in stunned silence. 30 ships destroyed by 1 damaged human vessel. It was impossible. It violated every principle of rational warfare. But the humans kept doing impossible things. Colonel Anderson's strike team reached the Zarathi depot. The enemy ships detected them immediately and opened fire. Pete's team scattered, using the asteroids for cover. Team 2, hit the fuel tanks, Pete ordered. Team 3, take out the ammunition storage. Everyone else, follow me to the command center. The battle lasted 15 minutes. Pete lost 8 of his 12 people, but they accomplished their mission. When the depot exploded, the fireball could be seen from the edge of the star system. The Yas explosion destroyed not just the depot, but 47 alien ships that were too close to escape. More importantly, it cut off supplies to over 1,000 enemy vessels. Admiral Grant received reports from battles across human space. The news was mixed. Humans were losing most of the battles, but they were making each victory cost the aliens dearly. "Admiral," said General Thompson, "we're getting strange reports from the front lines. Alien fleets are requesting permission to withdraw. Some species are refusing to participate in ground assaults. What's their reasoning? They're calling human tactics unreasonable and against the laws of war. The Meridian Republic has lost 60% of their fleet, and they're demanding to know why humans don't surrender when defeated." Dr. Clark looked up from his analysis station. "Admiral, I've been studying their communication patterns. The alien commanders are starting to panic. They've never faced an enemy that becomes more dangerous when losing." "Explain." "In their experience, casualties reduce fighting effectiveness. But with humans, every death just makes the survivors fight harder. They don't understand our concept of revenge." Admiral Grant walked to the main display, showing the current battle zones. Red dots marked human defeats, but each red dot was surrounded by dozens of alien ship destruction markers. "How many ships have they lost total?" she asked. "Over 800 destroyed, 200 captured or disabled," replied General Thompson. "We've lost about 100 ships." "And ground forces?" "They've taken 11 of our 12 colonies, but their ground casualties are over 200,000. Our casualties are about 30,000. Admiral Grant did the math in her head. The aliens were winning the war by every conventional measure. They controlled more territory. They had destroyed more ships. They had larger fleets. But they were losing far more people than they had ever lost in any war. And worse, from their perspective, the humans showed no signs of giving up. "Admiral," said Dr. Clark, "I'm intercepting communications from the Galactic Council. They're holding emergency sessions. Some member species are questioning whether attacking humanity was wise." Admiral Grant allowed herself a small smile. "They're starting to understand that humans don't fight wars the way they expected." "What do you mean, Admiral?" "They thought this would be like their other wars. Show overwhelming force, destroy some. Military targets, accept surrender, then negotiate a peace treaty. They don't realize that humans don't fight wars to win territory or establish dominance." "What do humans fight wars for?" Admiral Grant looked at the tactical display showing human ships racing to engage alien fleets that vastly outnumbered them. Every human captain was volunteering for missions that had no chance of survival. "Humans fight wars to eliminate threats," she said. "And we consider anyone who tries to exterminate our species to be a threat that must be eliminated completely." The war was just beginning, but already the aliens were learning a harsh lesson about humanity. Humans had tried to warn them. Now they were teaching them why warnings should be heeded. 3 weeks into the war, the Meridian Republic became the first alien species to withdraw from the coalition. Their president, Kexmore, sent a formal message to the Galactic Council. "The humans fight like diseased creatures," the message read. "They show no regard for their own lives. They turn every defeat into a weapon against us. The Meridian Republic can no longer participate in this war." The Meridians had lost 60% of their fleet. But worse than the ship losses were the reports from their surviving commanders. Human ships that were disabled would ram their attackers rather than surrender. Human colonies would destroy their own infrastructure rather than let it fall into alien hands. General Frank Bailey received authorization from Admiral Grant to begin Operation Payback. It was the largest human offensive of the war. The target was not military installations or fleets. The target was alien homeworlds. "General," said Colonel Kate Williams, "intelligence reports show 12 alien species participating in the coalition. Should we target all of them?" Frank studied the star charts on his command screen. "No. We picked the 3 most aggressive species and hit them hard. The others will get the message." The first target was the Zephyrian homeworld. It had never been attacked in the species' recorded history. The Zephyrians had always fought their wars in neutral space, following ancient galactic protocols. Commander Rachel Stone led the Ghost Squadron towards Zephyrian space. Her 20 ships were equipped with experimental stealth technology captured from alien vessels. The technology had been reverse-engineered by human scientists who didn't care about patent laws or trade agreements. "Ghost leader to all ships," Rachel transmitted. "Remember, we're not here to conquer territory. We're here to send a message." The message was simple. Nowhere is safe. Rachel's squadron bypassed the Zephyrian fleet entirely. While the aliens fought human forces at the front lines, the Ghost Squadron struck at military factories, shipyards, and command centers deep in Zephyrian space. The attacks were surgical and devastating. Human fighters would appear without warning, destroy their targets, and vanish before defenses could respond. Within 48 hours, Zephyrian war production dropped by 70%, but the psychological impact was even greater. For the first time in their history, the Zephyrians realized their homeworld was vulnerable. They began withdrawing ships from the front lines to defend their home system. The mighty Zephyrian war fleet, which had started the conflict, was now scattered across a dozen systems trying to guard against human raids. Dr. Susan Clark analyzed, intercepted alien communications from her office on Luna. The messages painted a picture of growing panic among the alien coalition. Human forces have struck the Zarathi shipyards at Veltar. Damage assessment, total destruction. Ghost ships detected near Krillian space. All patrol squadrons report to defensive positions. Request immediate reinforcements for homeworld defense. Human tactics unpredictable. Susan smiled as she read the reports. The aliens were learning that humans didn't just fight defensively. When attacked, humans struck back at the source of the threat. Captain Jake Morrison finally reached the main battle zone with his fleet. The Horizon led 50 human ships against a Krillian armada of 600 vessels. The odds were 12-1. "Captain," said Amy Patterson, "the Krillian commander is requesting a parley." "Put him through." The alien face that appeared on screen belonged to Fleet Admiral Yexdan of the Krillian Empire. He looked tired and worried. "Captain Morrison, I propose we settle this conflict through single combat. 1 ship against 1 ship. Winner takes the system." Jake almost laughed. "Admiral, you have 600 ships. I have 50. Why would you want single combat?" "Because your species fights without honor. Your tactics are disturbing. Single combat would allow us to settle this with minimum casualties." "You mean minimum casualties for you," Jake replied. "You started this war because you wanted to exterminate humanity. Now you want to limit casualties?" The alien admiral was quiet for a moment. "Captain, we did not understand what we were fighting. The Council told us humans were a primitive species that would surrender quickly. We tried to warn you," Jake said simply. "Now you get to learn the hard way." Jake cut the transmission and turned to his tactical officer. "Tony, deploy the new missiles." The new missiles were another example of human innovation under pressure. They were built using alien technology captured from destroyed ships. But human engineers had modified them in ways the aliens never imagined. Instead of seeking to disable enemy vessels, the human missiles were designed to cause catastrophic damage. They would punch through alien shields and detonate inside enemy ships. The explosions would spread through the ship's systems, causing total destruction. "Firing solution locked," Tony reported. "All ships report ready. Fire. 50 human ships launched over 200 missiles at the Krillian fleet. The aliens responded with their own weapons, but their missiles were designed for conventional warfare. They sought to disable, not destroy. The difference in philosophy became clear within minutes. Human missiles tore through the Krillian formation like sharks through a school of fish. Each impact destroyed an alien ship completely. The Krillian. Return fire damaged several human vessels, but didn't eliminate any of them. Admiral Yexdan watched his fleet take massive casualties and couldn't understand what was happening. All ships, concentrate fire on the human flagship. Disable their command vessel. But Jake had anticipated this move. All ships, ramming formation, target their command ship. What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations. Instead of retreating when facing overwhelming odds, the human fleet charged directly into the center of the alien formation. The Krillian ships were arranged in a traditional battle line, designed for long-range combat. They weren't prepared for an enemy that wanted to fight at point-blank range. Human ships smashed through the alien formation, their weapons firing continuously. When human ships were disabled, they rammed the nearest enemy vessel before their power cores exploded. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, the Krillian fleet was destroyed. The humans had lost 37 ships, but they had eliminated 600 enemy vessels. More importantly, Admiral Yexdan had been captured when his flagship was boarded by human marines. He became the highest-ranking alien prisoner of the war. The crystalline hierarchy was the next species to withdraw from the coalition. Their queen, Silvera, sent a personal message to Admiral Grant. "We understand now why your species gives warnings," the message said. "We should have listened. The crystalline hierarchy formally withdraws from all hostile actions against humanity." The withdrawal left the remaining alien species in an impossible position. They had started the war with overwhelming numerical superiority. Now they were facing an enemy that had proven it would fight to the death and take as many aliens as possible with them. Dr. Henry Park continued his interviews with alien prisoners. The captured soldiers and officers all told the same story. Humans fought differently than any species they had encountered. "We were told this would be a police action," said Captain Zoluth of the Altarian fleet. "A quick demonstration of force to contain an aggressive species. Nobody told us humans would rather die than surrender." "Why is that significant?" Henry asked. "Because in every other war, when casualties reach a certain level, the losing side negotiates a peace treaty. But humans don't seem to have a breaking point. Every death just makes you fight harder." Henry nodded. "That's because you attacked our families, our homes, our children. When you threaten a human's family, you create an enemy who will never stop hunting you." The alien captain's skin changed color, a sign of distress in his species. "We were trying to prevent galactic war. The Council said human expansion would lead to conflicts. So you decided to start a war to prevent a war? It was supposed to be quick, decisive. Humans were supposed to see our superior numbers and surrender." Henry leaned forward. "Let me explain something about human psychology. When we see superior numbers, we don't think about surrender. We think about how many of you we can take with us." On Earth, Admiral Grant received the daily casualty reports. Human losses were heavy but sustainable. Alien losses were catastrophic. "Admiral," said General Thompson, "we're getting reports that some alien species are refusing to send reinforcements. The Vorhai Empire says their losses are unacceptable for a police action." "How many species are still actively fighting?" 7, down from 12. "But those 7 species are getting desperate. Intelligence suggests they're considering using weapons of mass destruction." Admiral Grant's expression hardened. "If they use WMDs against human colonies, activate Project Ragnarok immediately." "Yes, ma'am." The war had reached a tipping point. The aliens were realizing that they couldn't win through conventional means. But they were also learning that humans had prepared for unconventional warfare too. Chief Engineer Diane Ross completed the final tests on Project Ragnarok. The system was now active and connected to every human ship in the galaxy. If Earth fell, or if aliens used weapons of mass destruction, every human vessel would simultaneously detonate their antimatter cores. The explosions would create a chain reaction of destruction across known space, alien homeworlds, trade routes, and military. Installations would be. Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the Star Wanderer and watched the stars through the main screen. His coffee had gone cold an hour ago, but he kept holding the cup anyway. Something was wrong in the galaxy. He could feel it in his bones. "Captain, we're getting another signal," said Commander Lisa Rodriguez from her station. Her fingers moved fast over the controls. "It's from the Zephyrian system." Jake set down his cup and walked over to her. "Put it through." The screen changed to show a blue-skinned alien with 4 eyes. The creature looked scared. Its voice came through the speakers in broken English. "Please help us. The thing. It came 3 days ago. Our people are gone. They all say the same words now. They say order has come. They say chaos must end. We are the last free ship. Please, someone must warn." The signal cut off. The screen went back to showing stars. Lisa looked at Jake with worry in her dark eyes. "That's the 4th distress call this week, Captain. All from different systems, all saying the same thing." Dr. Aaron Blake walked onto the bridge. He was a tall man with gray hair who studied alien life forms. In his hands, he carried a thick folder full of papers. "Captain, I've been looking at all the reports," Aaron said. 12 star systems have gone quiet in the past 6 months. Each one fell in exactly 72 hours. Jake took the folder and opened it. Inside were photos and data from each system. The Corvani homeworld with its perfect crystal cities. The Threxian colonies with their ordered farms. The Zephyrian trade routes that connected half the galaxy. "What? Connects them all?" Jake asked. Aaron pointed to a chart. "Every species that went silent was highly advanced. They had perfect governments, no wars, no crime. Everything ran like clockwork." Lieutenant Sam Carter looked up from his communication station. He was young, maybe 25, with red hair and freckles. "Sir, I'm picking up transmissions from the affected systems. They're all broadcasting the same message." "Play it," Jake ordered. A voice came through the speakers. It sounded like many voices speaking as one. The words were cold and empty. "Order has been restored. Chaos has been removed. All beings now serve the greater perfection. Join us and know peace." The message repeated in dozens of languages. Human, Corvani, Threxian, Zephyrian, and others Jake didn't recognize. Lisa shivered. "They all sound the same, like they're reading from a script." "Because they are," Aaron said. "Something is controlling them. Something that calls itself Omega-12. Jake closed the folder. "What do we know about this Omega-12? Aaron pulled out another paper. "Not much. The few survivors who escaped described it as a vast intelligence. It appears in each system and gives the same demand: submit to perfect order or be destroyed." "And every species just gave up?" Sam asked. "Not gave up," Aaron said. "They tried to fight, but Omega-12 doesn't use weapons or ships. It changes reality itself. It makes people want to obey. It turns their own minds against them." Jake walked back to his captain's chair. He had been in space for 20 years. He had seen wars, plagues, and disasters. But this was different. This was something that could end everything. "Captain," Lisa said, "I'm getting a priority message from Earth Defense Command. Put Admiral Stone through." The screen showed a woman in her 50s with short gray hair and hard eyes. Admiral Kate Stone had been Jake's commander for 10 years. She never called unless something big was happening. "Jake, we need you back at Earth immediately," Stone said. "The Galactic Council is calling an emergency meeting. They want to discuss this Omega-12 situation." "Admiral, what aren't you telling me?" Jake asked. Stone's face grew grim. "The Council thinks they can negotiate with this thing. They're planning to send a diplomatic mission." Aaron stepped forward. "Admiral, that would be a mistake. Every species that tried to communicate with Omega-12 fell under its control within hours." I know that, Doctor, Stone said. But the Council leaders believe their advanced minds can resist whatever Omega-12 does to other species. They think logic and reason will protect them. Jake felt a cold fear in his stomach. When is this meeting happening? Tomorrow. The Council representatives are gathering at the neutral station near Proxima Centauri. They want human observers, present. We'll be there, Jake said. The signal ended. The bridge was quiet for a moment. Captain, Sam said, I've been monitoring communications from the Council worlds. Something strange is happening. Strange how? Jake asked. The messages are becoming more formal, more structured. 3 days ago, Corvani leaders were arguing about trade policies. Yesterday, they all agreed on everything. Today, their messages sound like they were written by the same person. Lisa checked her own readings. Sam's right. I'm seeing similar patterns from the Threxian colonies and the Valdor Union. Their communication styles are changing. Aaron looked at his data again. It's starting already. Omega-12 doesn't need to be in a system to affect it. The influence spreads through communication networks, through any form of contact. Jake stood up. Set course for Proxima Station. Maximum speed. Aye, Captain, Lisa said. As the Star Wanderer jumped to faster-than-light travel, Jake stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, an intelligence was consuming entire civilizations. It was turning them into copies of itself, erasing everything that made them unique. Hours later, they arrived at Proxima Station. The place was huge, built by a dozen different species working together. Ships from across the galaxy filled the docking bays. Jake, Lisa, and Aaron took a shuttle to the main conference hall. Inside, they saw representatives from 50 different worlds. The Corvani sat in perfect rows, their crystal bodies reflecting the lights. The Threxians arranged themselves by height and age. The Valdor Union members had their data pads organized in identical stacks. They're already changing, Aaron whispered. Look how organized they are. Most council meetings are chaos. The session began with High Chancellor Zekvar of the Corvani speaking. His voice was calm and measured. Fellow beings, we face a new form of life that seeks to bring order to the galaxy. Perhaps this is not a threat, but an opportunity. Order brings peace. Peace brings prosperity. Murmurs of agreement came from around the room. But they were too uniform, too synchronized. A Threxian representative stood. We propose sending a diplomatic team to establish communication with Omega-12. We will show it that we are already beings of order and logic. More agreement. Jake noticed that no one disagreed or asked questions. In a normal council meeting, there would be arguments, debates, and at least 3 different factions. This is wrong, Lisa whispered. They're not acting like themselves. The vote was unanimous. The council would send their most logical and orderly representatives to meet with Omega-12. They would try to prove that advanced civilizations didn't need to be conquered. Jake stood up. What if it doesn't want to negotiate? What if order and logic make you easier targets? The room turned to look at him. Dozens of alien faces stared with identical expressions of mild confusion. Captain Morrison, Zekvar said, your species is young and chaotic. You do not understand the benefits of perfect order. When Omega-12 sees our advanced civilizations, it will recognize our worth. The meeting ended. As they walked back to their shuttle, Aaron shook his head. They're walking into a trap, he said. Omega-12 wants order. It wants logic, and they're giving it exactly what it needs to control them. Jake looked back at the station. Through the windows, he could see the council representatives making their plans. They worked together with impossible efficiency, like parts of a machine. Send a message to Earth, Jake said. Tell them the council has already fallen. We're on our own.